And welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We are going live with a video on the United Kingdom halfpenny from 1957. And this halfpenny from 1957 is sitting right here. And we're going to talk about a variety of that halfpenny that is worth 30 to 50 pounds. So let's talk a little bit about the halfpenny before 1957. And let's work our way through. Now, of course, the halfpenny's been around for quite a while. And this is one from Queen Victoria's time. It says half on the left, penny on the right. Underneath it says 1873. And it's Britannia holding a trident and a shield with a lighthouse behind her and a ship in front of her. This is probably my favorite one. So you can see the lighthouse here, the ship here, the shield, Britannia holding the trident. It says halfpenny, and then down here you can see the year 1873. And then if we go to the front, we see it says Victoria, DG, Brit Reg, FD. Victoria, by the grace of God, Queen of England, Regina of Britons, or all Britons, defender of the faith. And this is the so-called bunhead version with this kind of bun hair in the back with a ribbon. And you'll notice that this has some similarities to the Queen Elizabeth II coin, the Mary Gillick portrait, and we'll talk about that in a second. Of course, following Queen Victoria, we continued to have the halfpenny with the trident and the shield. But look at this one. They've taken the ship out and they've taken the lighthouse out. So we'll look at this one again and I'll show you. So no lighthouse here, and ship here, no ship here. Now whose is this? If you know those signals, then you'll know that this one is probably George V, who's the father of George VI, who was the father of Queen Elizabeth. So the grandfather of Queen Elizabeth II right here, George Diagras, rather than DG, and by the grace of God, King of all Britons. But this is Rex, not Reg. So it's instead of Regina, it's Rex, or King, instead of Queen. All Britons, Fid, Def, Ind, Imp. And this one, notice this one also has Emperor of India on it. So we know it's a pre-1948 coin. Now let's get to the more modern ones. And we notice that this is George V. And it turns out that when George VI came in, his son came in, they changed the back of the halfpenny. And this is the Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. It says halfpenny on the top rather than split by Britannia. We have the ship as the center of the halfpenny. This is in 1952, the last year of George VI's reign. And then way over here we see an H and a P, and that's, of course, for Thomas Humphrey Paget, who was the engraver of the back of this coin. And we can see the ship, very, very detailed ship. We see that it has a geared outer rim. There is kind of the swirly line, then in 1952, then another swirly line. And then we see beneath the ship, we see these seas, kind of waves going through them. And we see, of course, the cannon holes and the foredeck and everything. And of course, up top, we see the Union Jack and the banners. Now, this coin is, again, Queen Elizabeth's father, George V. And we see that there's an HP here also, because Thomas Humphrey Paget did the front and the back engraving on this coin. George VI, DG, Brit, Rex, Fidii Def. And the reason they say Fidii Def is because they've taken out the Fid Def because they took off the Emperor of India, or Ind Imp, because in 1948, India got its independence, and so the King of England was no longer, or Queen of England, were no longer the Imperator or Imperatrix of India, or Emperor. That brings us to the 1957. And so here we see it. It's a 1957 coin. It says halfpenny at the top, 1957 underneath. You can see it has the geared outer rim. Now this coin is a bronze coin, and it weighs 5.67 grams and 25.4 millimeters in diameter. It's pretty much stayed the same size from, let's get the Queen Elizabeth one and put it on top. I mean, the Queen Victoria one and put it on top. Same exact size. And it stayed the same size from the 1800s until 1967. Now, the 1957 version was the fourth year of Queen Elizabeth's reign, but the third year of this coin, because the first year of the coin had Brit Om on the front, and I'll show you where that was. So right now, this is the 1957 version. It says Elizabeth II, or the second, Dea Gratia, Regina, FD. On the first version of the coin, it said Brit Om, or Queen of all Britons. But it does not say it from 1954 on. This is a Mary Gillick portrait, and Mary Gillick did not have her initials on the portrait. So when we look at the Mary Gillick portrait, we'll see no initials. It's a beaded outer rim, a geared rim on the back or the reverse, and this is where you'd see it if you were going to get the really rare coin. If you have a rare 1957, it'll have straight lines across here. It won't have these wavy lines. And if you get one that's uncirculated, it could be worth 30 to 50 pounds, perhaps more. They're very hard to find. Now, why is that? It's interesting because they produced a bunch of them, and there are a bunch of these, they called it the Comsees version. If the lines go straight across, it's called the Comsees version. If the lines go like this, it's called the Normal Seas version. The Comsees version, where the lines go straight across, between that and a Normal Seas version, they produced 39 plus million, or essentially 40 million of them. Now, if you can find one that's uncirculated, it's hugely valuable. If you find one that's just like this, and it's been circulated, it's probably going to be worth a couple dollars, or £1.50 to £2 with a circulated version, unless it's in really good shape. But a Comsees straight version, 30 to 50 pounds. After 1957, of course, 1957, this is our Queen Elizabeth Mary Gillick one. They continued to make these coins until 1967. If you're looking for these coins, this is the last year that they made them for general circulation. They made 146.5 million of them in 1967. And you'll see the 1967s everywhere, and it's probably worth 50 cents US, or maybe 50 pence UK or less, because these are just everywhere. So from 1961 to 1967, where they made, starting in 59, they made about 80 million. 60, they made 41 million. 62, they made 41 million. 63, they made 43 million. 64, they made 78 million. In 65, they made 98 million. In 66, 95 million. They're just not going to be of any value. So if you're going to look for one that has perhaps the Comsees or some other value. Now, there aren't very many varieties of this, and that's why people try to collect them. So there's a couple other varieties you can look for, and those are the ones where in 1958 they had a difference in the reverse on these, and you have to measure how far it is from the ocean to the top of the mainmast. It changes in 1958, so that's a good one to look for. And in 1967, there's a little difference, and I'll show you the 1967 one. In 1967, there's a little difference, and it goes to specifically the width of the rim here, and you notice this rim's a little wider than this rim, and where we have Gratia down here. In the 1967, if it goes slightly to the left of the tooth, it's one version, and if it goes directly at the tooth, it's a different version. And let's see which one this is. This one, I think, goes slightly to the left of the tooth, but it doesn't really add any value. It's just that they aligned it a little differently for the different versions. So it goes down here or goes up here, you can collect the 1967s for that, but there's not much to them. All right, so what are we going to do? Well, look for the 1957, look for the COM-Cs, and hope that it's uncirculated. But if it's not uncirculated, keep it anyway, because they are hard to find, and people scoop them up. That's all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We hope you have a great day and a great new year, and hopefully we'll get this COVID thing straightened out as soon as possible.